I'm Deborah Prentice and welcome to Olsem Wanem. The Rabaul Volcano-logical Observatory in East New Britain province, over the last 3 decades, has had a significant impact on the province. Much of the volcano and earthquake-related information is relayed from the volcano center, but obtaining those volcano-related data is sometimes very dangerous. It means getting into the danger zone to get the volcano data they need. In this story, EMTV's Kokopo-based journalist Edwin Fidelis joined a team of volcanologists on what seemed as a crazy plan to climb Mount Tavurvur to assess the volcano and collect data.
Mount Tavurvur in Rabaul in East New Britain province is one of the active and menacing volcanoes in the Pacific. Tavurvur last erupted in August 2014, one of its recent eruptions since 1994. It produced a shower of volcanic ash that lasted for 4 hours and forced businesses and services in the town to come to a halt for at least 3 days. And the cost of restoring services in the town of Rabaul after the minor eruption was 3 million kina.
1 million is not enough for the disaster in the province. It needs to be increased, I believe, PA to another extra 2 million, a total of 3 million. That can take up for the all people that have been affected by this disaster.
The Rabaul people know all too well that there are volcanoes around them, but they haven't showed any signs of living and resettle in other parts of the province. Almost all the volcano-related information on any possible eruption is relayed from this facility. The Rabaul people consider this facility as the primary source of information in an event of a disaster. But getting the necessary volcano information is sometimes very dangerous for volcanologists. It means getting into the danger zone to obtain accurate data before it is passed on to the public. Mikhail Sindang is a volcanologist. In order to get first-hand data of volcanic activities, he has to visit the volcano crater. This was one of many times he visited the volcano to collect vital information. His journey began here, at the foot of the volcano, where thermal readings from the hot springs are assessed. An increase in temperature reading means he shouldn't climb the volcano, as the possibility of an eruption is high.
So at least makes popular reading average.
His observations and assessments eventually land him at the crater of the volcano.
Just below 80.
It is clear from the start that Mikhail has a dangerous passion. The journey up to the crater of Mount Tavurvur and down is one of the very difficult journeys to make. It is a constant 45-degree climb and descent over trenches and solidified molten rocks that have accumulated during the last eruption 12 months ago. Climbing volcanoes is a dangerous expedition. While a volcano eruption can be predicted, earthquakes cannot. Any sudden earth tremor can cause an avalanche on these rocks. Volcano information gathered by Mikhail assists volcanologists to determine what's going to happen and when.
Is 116. So first eruption, pressure and working unstable. So it's continuous eruption now. It's like open that part outside there, but it's like...
Back at the Rabaul Volcano-logical Observatory office, Earth movements are being monitored closely on these computers in real time. Senior volcanologist Ima Itikarai is doing a routine check to monitor the number of earthquakes that have happened in the last 30 minutes.
Okay, this map shows the earthquakes that have been recorded by Rabaul Volcano Observatory during the past probably 8 to 10 years. And they are mainly earthquakes which are big, magnitude 5 and more, and probably earthquakes which have been felt.
Earthquake and volcano information gathered here also come from other small volcano centers as far as Wanem in Medang and Esa Ala in Milan Bay provinces.
This information coming in from one of the stations in Rabaul caldera. So this is a record for one day. A trace along this, a horizontal trace complete is 30 minutes. And so where the trace is straight, it's background noise. But on this screen, there's a lot of disturbances, and all these disturbances are earthquakes. So these are mainly earthquakes that are aftershocks of the 30th of March earthquake, the 7.4 or 7.5 magnitude earthquake. The number of earthquakes has declined slowly since the earthquake. So
in 1994, the Vulvur erupted and buried the town of Rabaul under meters of volcanic ash. Today, the volcano isn't giving off ashes like before, but volcanologists say that doesn't make it any safer. As Papua New Guinea focuses its efforts on disaster mitigation, this small center and its officers like Mikhail will continue to play a key role in any event of a disaster.
Papua New Guinea is a disaster-prone region. The ever-present risk of earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, tsunamis, or landslides are some natural disasters that the country can't escape. Previous natural disasters such as the 1994 eruption of Tavurvur in Rabaul and the Aitape tsunami in 1998 has tested our preparedness and nearly won. But these experiences have also allowed for groundbreaking researches on planning and mitigation when a disaster strikes. But to educate the people well about how to deal with disaster is an age-old concern. Experts say disaster-related information gathered and passed on by researchers are sometimes too technical and difficult to understand by ordinary people.
1994 in Rabaul, East New Britain province, Mount Tavurvur and volcano erupted. It killed 4 people and buried the entire CBD of Rabaul and its nearby areas under meters of volcanic ash. An estimated cost of the damages caused by the eruption ran into more than 100 million kina. 1998, Aitape, West Sepik province, a series of tidal waves struck Sisano Lagoon. It killed 2,000 people and left over several hundred injured and homeless. Scientists and researchers have used these catastrophic events to assist in new discoveries to help people on how to react to future disasters when it happens. At this recent forum in Kokopo, hosted by the Geoscience Australia, understanding hazard and risk information for disasters was a topic of discussion. About 100 participants from various stakeholders, the Rabaul Volcano Observatory, Disaster Office, the provincial government and NGOs gathered to identify and discuss ways to respond to disasters. One of the key issues discussed was the disseminating of disaster-related information and how it will reach the people in disaster-prone areas.
Yeah, in the past, as scientists and doing scientific reports, we've made information that's been much too technical, and so people haven't been able to use it to make decisions. And so the idea of this workshop today is to hear what people need to know and how they would like to receive that information, so we can provide it to them in a way that they can make those better decisions. PNG is certainly one of the most hazard-prone countries on Earth, as are many countries in our region, so countries like Indonesia and the Philippines. Because we're sitting around the geological boundaries between tectonic plates, it's that geology that makes these places so hazardous. So certainly it's right up there in terms of countries that can be affected by natural disasters.
Groundbreaking researches over the years indicated that more and more disaster-related materials and findings on disaster management and safety were produced in abundance. The information collected by experts and supplied were rendered very complicated. This is because the information are too technical and many ordinary people find it very difficult to understand.
Technical agencies and scientists all around the world, it's not just here in PNG, it's a problem that we have in Australia, it's a problem that we have in every country that we work in, is that science is almost like a language in itself. So if we give that information in a scientific language, then no one is going to understand it.
Disaster emergency preparedness plans remains a big challenge for the government and its various departments, and most importantly, the people's ability to react promptly using vital disaster information in an event of a disaster still linger.
So it can take lots of different forms. If you're doing a community awareness campaign, if you're going out into a community, less words might be better. Do we make posters with lots of pictures on them that explain what the hazard is and what they should do in the event of an emergency? Do we produce evacuation maps so people can see where they need to go? Do we make videos? Do we make programs for radio? What is it that you need which is going to reach the people who are actually going to use this information?
Celebrations like these have been few and far in between recent years for Rabaul district. The once beautiful town had been damaged during the 1994 eruption. What have been left behind were refurbished and life continues as usual for the people. Last month, the district celebrated a milestone as it continues to live on after the eruptions. The district launched 4 new plans that centers around the theme "Priority is our children," and amongst the 4 plans that were launched was a disaster management and risk plan for schools in the district.
And just put them back down there because they're pretty heavy.
The launching of the school's disaster management plan had put Rabaul well ahead of other districts in the province and the country.
This initiative is supposed to be taken at the provincial level, but and also tailored down to the 4 districts. But we just took it on because we cannot wait. We need to get this one going, mainly the disaster, because we have a disaster at our back here. And that's why we really need to have a management plan on disaster in place so that we are prepared for an emergency.
It is a common knowledge that Rabaul town and its nearby areas won't be brought back to that stage they used to be 21 years ago. While stories of disasters like the Tavurvur and volcano eruption or the Aitape tsunami can be recited well from memory, it once tested our readiness to respond to any disaster. These catastrophic events have also paved way for new research on how future possible disasters can be avoided, and this time with less casualty. But the successes hinges on a national disaster management and emergency response plan for the country, a step that PNG hasn't quite reached yet.
PNG has one complex geography and many development challenges, but among all these, NGOs and CSOs emerge in assisting communities in terms of development in various areas. The Ecoforestry Forum recently coordinated an exhibition and seminar to showcase the roles that NGOs and CSOs play in terms of assisting communities in sustainable development.
Papua New Guinea has a diverse geography, from rugged mountains to isolated islands. %80 of our population remain in remote areas, many unreachable. And with a country that is characterized by development inequalities and social isolation, there are many challenges. But among all these, NGOs emerge in providing services and support to many people in the country. The Ecoforestry Forum recently coordinated an exhibition and seminar to showcase the roles of NGOs and CSOs in supporting responsible sustainable development in Papua New Guinea. With that, organizations came out to the University of Papua New Guinea to showcase what they do. Some of the main organizations are those working in conserving and sustaining the natural environment.
Yes, thank you. My name is Barbara Masikeliri, and I work with the Nature Conservancy. The Nature Conservancy is an international conservation NGO. It's US-based, but works in more than 30 other countries in the world, including Papua New Guinea. We do land use planning, which is what we really want to promote to the government of Papua New Guinea and to all other provincial governments. What we do is we facilitate processes, workshops for all stakeholders to come together. So for example, if we are working in Madang province, we bring in all the stakeholders to come together. We put up a map of the whole province, and then we bring in all the stakeholders and they tell us where they work, what sort of interest they have in that particular province. And so that helps us to identify where the agriculture practices are, where the logging practices are, where the mining practices are, and where we can also be able to establish protected areas so that nature can always continue to survive and to help us as human beings, sustain our lives. I think the significance now for land use planning is that the government has just launched this national responsible strategy for sustainable development. And I think it's very timely that we also come on board because we have the best practice, the tools that we can use, and the government makes policies and we are implementing partners to the government. So we have these best practice tools where we can get into collaborative partnerships with the government and be able to implement the government strategy for responsible sustainable development.
I'm Stuart Sarawe. I'm acting director for Foundation for People and Community Development. Our initials are FPCD in short, and we've been an NGO registered in PNG since 5th of February 1993. This year is our 22nd year of existence, and we mainly have two programs in our organization. Firstly, it's community forestry, and our second program is integrated community development. Community forestry program is based in Medan province and works with forest resource owners in Medan province who have shown interest to participate in managing their own forest. And presently we are working with 7 target communities in Medan province, And our integrated community development program mainly works through looks at other areas of community development that is not directly related to forestry.
We also caught up with an NGO environmental law firm that provides legal aid to rural communities.
And my name is Peter Boship, and I am the Executive Director for the Center for Environmental Law and Community Rights. Or in short, it's CELCOR, C-E-L-C-O-R. That's in short for Center for Environmental Law and Community Rights. And CELCOR is a law firm. It's a legal firm, but it's not for profit law firm. We don't make profit from the service that we provide. We are established as a non-government organization, and we provide our legal expertise or support to many rural communities throughout Papua New Guinea that cannot be able to access lawyers, and lawyers which are very expensive to afford these days here in Papua New Guinea. So we established ourselves to help rural communities who are affected mainly by large-scale development activities. Development activities are like logging, mining, oil palm, and moreover, it's about the human rights. So the rural people, they cannot be able to have access to the legal advice or information that they need to know and make informed decisions, which we have seen as a need for us to establish ourselves, and then we go out to the community and support the rural communities in areas of number of things that we do. First, it's about litigation. Litigation is like representing someone in court. So when there is an issue like environmental destruction.
The Seed Foundation, an NGO group under the Eco-Forestry Forum, is one NGO based in the Western Highlands and Jiwaka province. They've been working on reforestation and planting drought-resistant crops. With the current dry season affecting many in the highlands, this project will now come in handy for many people.
My name is Dominic Titip. I am a volunteer. I work with the Seed Foundation in Mount Hagen. The work of the Seed Foundation, we are basically developing sustainable community development programs and rolling it out to all communities in Western Islands and Jiwaka. We have two main programs there. One is the protection and the protection of food seeds and tree seeds, and we are doing community reforestation as well, which is one of the programs to create regeneration sites for our native tree species. One other thing that we're also doing is we are developing drought-resistant crops. We're dealing with taro, yam, cassava, all of those crops that can withstand drought. And now that we are experiencing the drought season, many of the communities that we are working with and those communities that have planted yam and taro that we promote in our program are now able to live on those crops. People are able to use the taro and yam and cassava for their own consumption, as well as they are able to sell it to communities, surrounding communities. So after 3 years of promoting drought-resistant crops, now we are seeing the impact that this program is having on the communities. Our gardens are healthier, and the food that we are growing we are able to sustain our families and also able to earn an income. So that has been good, and I think we need to promote drought-resistant crops and other crops that can grow well in our environment.
In 2014, we interviewed Yomas Dosing in Mount Hagen, Western Highlands Province. Yomas is one farmer who is cultivating African yams, which is a drought-resistant crop. The preservation period of African yams is longer than sweet potatoes. African yams can be preserved for up to 8 months.
So again, I'm a place where we specialize long cow, potato, vegetables. Arab legally food crop where we play team or seminar long, sustaining living blow me plan, long family, long market blow me plan, long helping Arab long or big ceremonies. But now we play looking most sometimes climate change come, drought. Or this like dry season or wet season become long and affecting plenty all crops now. Especially potato now am affected. Cocoa too am affected. But me selecting all good one to like come out the market or carry me go all customers who said need more crops. But as now me looking at suppose one sun and stop at least 6 months, 6 to 7 months or 4 months maybe 4 months is too much. Cocoa babara. But it too bad finish. So people are like substituting all this like crop or yam and can this like place. Because yam this like African yam. Africa I think plenty all big man all round finish long African continent now looking finish. One kind climate blow stuff. Plenty country blow Africa desert karmat. But time all planning this like yam. Survive this like.
Okay, thank you. Name me, I'm Daisy Anton. Mimix Moroben again, my sister Yomas Dosung, this lamani work growing yam, African yam in Chelo Western Islands. I think 4 years now, me growing this yam. Seedlings me like simlong nari lolei. Me start growing me coming 2001 coming up now, 11 coming up now 2014. So I'm 4 years now me growing Africa yam.
That's all we have time for on this episode. We would like to thank everyone that has participated. If you have any comments or stories you would like to share, please contact us via the email address on your screen or visit us on our Facebook page. Until then, it's goodbye for now.